I've been working on a boss fighting bullet hell game. In the last video, I added this ghost movement ability for dodging bullets. And I also made this hooded demon ghost guy. You guys had a lot of different ideas and feedback for the game, so I've taken your comments and mixed them into my most ambitious boss battle so far. Starting development on this new boss, I'm planning to go for a kinda pyramid desert vibe. So I plop in a floor, and I put in this teeny weeny tetrahedron. He's just chillin' and spinning. I went with the small pyramid design because anything beyond basic geometric shapes is a bit beyond me. But regardless, this guy still took embarrassingly long to draw. He has 3 simple attacks. One of you guys suggested a slam or shockwave attack, so our buddy over here slams into the ground, and there's this shockwave which forces you to ghost through it. I've also drawn up these frames where the boss inverts itself, and during this attack it quickly shoots bullets into the corners of the map. For the third attack, the boss opens up an eye and shoots out these bullets that move along a triangular path. Anyway, now that some attacks are done, I've drawn up this big wall, grabbed a slice of it, and thrown it into the game. So the floor looks like it's going up, but it's actually the wall moving down. Now I just gotta click the graphics checkbox, and now we got some clean visuals. So clean you could eat it. Along with these central attacks, I also want to add some extra attacks along the edge of the arena. So I'm adding some corner plates that shoot bullets, just to add some extra challenge. I tried out several different styles for this triangle attack, and I ended up going with this one. So now we have this big, slow triangle attack. The other corner attack are these blue bullets that knock you back if you try to go through them. Since these extra attacks are all at the edge of the arena, they work well alongside the central attacks, and so it becomes a fun game of keeping your eyes on both the center and the corners of the arena. Speaking of eyes, let's look at my ideas for phase 2 of the boss fight. As a guy with very little art skills, eyeballs are something I don't mind drawing, mainly because my art program has a circle tool, and it does not have something like a genie tool. In phase 2 of the boss fight, I'm planning to have 3 eyeballs that take turns attacking the player. Lots of people suggested to add platforms that you can leap across, and someone also suggested a boss that you can ghost into to dodge an attack. So I'm thinking it could be cool if the player could actually jump on these eyeballs as platforms. However, it might not be very obvious that the player can leap onto the boss, since most games don't let you run into the enemies. So I'll have to try to teach this mechanic somehow. After dealing enough damage, you emerge out of the pyramid into phase 2 of the boss fight. Then in this cutscene, there's this eyeball that just comes out of nowhere to pick you up, and this is kind of to try to indicate that the player can stand on the eyeballs when they're closed. Right now, the eyes can only be shot when they're open, and when they're closed, they can be used as a helpful platform to dodge certain attacks. If the eyes open up while you're standing on them, you get bounced back to the platform. And the eyes don't go quite far enough, but if you mix it with a really well-timed ghost, it can help you reach the like and subscribe button. Overall, it took about 10 days to get these eyes to function as moving platforms, along with getting the animations done for the level transition. In my previous video, I showed off how you could ghost back onto the platform if you fell off, and I could tell people really liked this mechanic. A lot of people ended up asking for an arena-wide attack, where you must jump off the map to dodge the attack and then ghost back onto the platform to survive. And this sounds really sick, so it's definitely something I want to add to this boss phase. But a problem with this is how unintuitive it would be for a player. How do you get someone to willingly jump off the map? I could try to add really clear indicators, or maybe I could just politely tell the player, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to just really quickly jump off the map for me. Just really quick. You can just jump off the map." I didn't have any great solutions, so for now, I've kinda just left the player with a few options to dodge any arena-wide attacks. So this arena-wide crack attack, kind of based off that one Valorant ultimate, warns the player that a big scary thing is gonna happen, and then a bunch of bullets show up. You can dodge this the cool way by jumping off the map and ghosting back on, but it's a little bit tricky. This is kinda where the eyes come in. You can ghost onto a closed one to stay safe from these big attacks. There's also a few other things you can try, and hopefully this helps to add some variety to the fights. Here's another arena-wide attack, which I call the undodgeable attack, even though you can dodge it. In fact, there's a lot of different ways to dodge it, but it looks kinda hard to dodge because you can't just easily ghost through it, so it might be a bit tricky when you see it for the first time. Along with the arena-wide attacks, I've also added some of these precise attacks where you have to weave between the bullets. This one's called the triangle attack, Quite a few triangles here. A bit of a theme if you didn't notice. I went through a few different iterations of this attack, because I wasn't really happy with how the attacks looked. I ended up having all 3 eyes shoot this bullet type towards the player. Lastly, I call this attack the strip attack, because the eye takes off its skin or something? I don't even know, man, but it's quite fun to weave through this attack, and it relies more on small, precise movements, rather than ghosting longer distances. With those 4 attacks out of the way, it's time to move on to the 3rd phase of the boss, and in the 3rd phase I want to go all out on something big. So in this final phase, I want to lean more into the multiple island suggestions. I've added these moving islands, and I scare the player off the main platform with a slow downwards crack attack. Originally I was planning for the final boss's head to come out of the ground, and then the main platform would become the boss's body, so that it would match the concept art I had prepared at the very start of development. But I ended up combining the tetrahedron with the eyeballs to make this giant guy for phase 3. This guy's just the floating head, no triple arms, no body. This was a lot simpler than my original plans, but the art still took ages, especially with all the dithering. There's gotta be a better way to do this, but with my art tool, I can't draw a dithered line, I just had to manually place all the dithering. Since it's the last phase of the boss fight, the player gets here less often, so it's better to have fewer attack types. I've got 2 main attacks. One where the eyes shoot bullets in the shape of eyes that shoot bullets, and another where the boss spins super fast. I wasn't really sure how I'd make the bullets come out of the boss for this attack. I started with this goofy spin attack. I do not know what I was trying to cook up, and another attempt of mine turned out like this. Eventually I landed on this bullet pattern. I'm not really sure if I like it, but I'm happy enough with it for now. So those are the 3 different phases of the new boss fight that I've added to this game, but you guys had a lot more ideas outside of just boss attacks and level mechanics, so now it's time for some rapid fire feedback. And hey, if you haven't seen the previous video, maybe that's worth watching right now so these changes make more sense. So for the ghosting system, there were a few different suggestions for how this could be polished. One really good suggestion was that the old player silhouette looks like the player will arrive at that location rather than going past it. It would be much better if the visuals implied that there was movement. So along with the silhouette, there's now a gradient to show roughly how far the player will move when ghosting. One commenter asked for a bit more shooting polish, and I've tried my best to make it a bit more visually interesting, even if it's still a bit lame, sorry. But yeah, we now got some particles and we got some flashing. Nothing too distracting. Last video, I said that I'd try to avoid lazy visuals when warning about an attack. Cuphead bosses also indicate when they're going to move to a certain part of the stage, or if a part of the stage will become hazardous. I think I was a bit lazy, I would just plop a yellow rectangle or a yellow circle. This is something I'm aiming to improve on in the next boss that I develop. And I think I did a pretty good job with this in the new boss, but I wasn't actually planning to make these changes in the first boss fight. But I've got a suggestion to add some flickering to warn the user of when the laser will be shot. So I've gone ahead and implemented that, as well as some other warnings for enemies appearing. I've also redone the camera system so that I can choose when it should stay more stable, so that you can have a better time seeing what's happening in the whole level. Someone also suggested that I speak with more intonation, so how did I do, guys? I wanted to try and be more enthusiastic, but I don't want to sound like Mr. Beast, right? So hopefully my voice sounds a bit better this time. Otherwise, in the game, there's definitely going to be more polish to do in the future, but for now I'm quite happy with the current state of the game. So I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting it to take this long to finish this boss battle, but I'm glad it's finally done. At this rate though, I don't think it's worthwhile making another boss of such a large scope. My plans right now are to just try add maybe 2 more bosses of a much smaller scope instead. Otherwise, I'm never gonna get this game done. If you're watching this video soon after it came out, then I probably haven't finished making the game. But once I'm done, it will be available to play for free in the browser through the link in the description. So that's about it, guys. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. I'm new to making videos, so I appreciate any feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.